4, 3.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Michigan Insider, Michigan.247sports.com. Alejandro Zuniga out here on a post-Fresno State pre-Texas press conference with Sherrone Moore, with starting quarterback Davis Warren, with Will Johnson, the star defensive back who had the pick six to close the game out against Fresno State, and with Max Bredesen, another captain and another former walk-on along with Davis Warren. The four of them recapped what they saw from the Fresno State game and gave their thoughts on the early preparations for Texas. Spoiler alert, they all think that Texas is quite good. It's a top 10 showdown here at the Big House. It's big noon Saturday on Fox. It's also going to be college game day, so there's going to be a lot of eyes in Ann Arbor for that classic SEC Big Ten matchup. A lot of burnt orange expected to be in town as well. We'll get started with Sherrone Moore's comments. He basically repeated what he said after the Fresno State game, which is that he thought that the offense really got into a rhythm for that last drive in the fourth quarter when the Wolverines were able to move the ball, mainly with Kalel Mullings, and then with that play action pass to Colston Loveland to turn a 6-point game into a 13-point game and really put that game on ice given what the defense had done through that point in the game. Sherrone Moore said what he said before when he was the offensive line coach, which is that an offense really takes shape. It really improves the most between week 1 and week 2. That's certainly something the Wolverines will be hoping for after scuffling through a lot of the night against Fresno State. He said that on run plays, if it's a pass play, not all 11 people have to do their jobs. On run plays, though, you really need all 11 working together, working as a unit for that run play to be successful. That's something that with better communication, with repetition, with a focus on precision and preparation is something that they expect will improve against Texas. Davis Warren spoke on how, he has been performing against this Michigan defense all throughout fall camp. He is confident that not only can the run game be successful, but also the deep passing game as well. Speaking a little bit to the Texas game plan, Sherrone Moore was asked about what Alex Orji's role will be in the offense this weekend. As expected, Sherrone played it close to the vest. He just gave a smile and said, "We will see." So, of course, we'll see. On the defensive side of the ball, though, opened up a little bit of eyes, Michigan did, with the amount of rotation they had. Particularly in the second half, we saw a lot of people who we didn't expect, maybe not necessarily in that starting lineup. And in a 6-point game, that maybe made a bit of a difference. Sherrone Moore said, listen, they want to play as many guys as they possibly can, and that they expect a deep rotation to continue defensively against the Texas Longhorns this weekend. Switching to the players now, a lot of the focus was on Davis Warren, who of course became the starter, was named the starter in the minutes before kickoff against Fresno State. If you'd followed along at the Michigan Insider, Michigan.247sports.com, you would have known a couple days before that things were leaning Davis Warren's way. That being said, from what we've heard, it sounds like Davis Warren has really been preparing for this moment since he first arrived on campus. He and Max Bredesen were roommates. They've been housemates for a very long time. Max Bredesen was talking about how Davis Warren, from his freshman year, when he was on the scout team, when he was still, recovering, getting back up to playing weight after his battle with cancer in high school, was preparing every single week like he was going to be the starter. Said he watched more film than anyone. Said he was out there with Cade McNamara watching film to 10, 11 p.m. at night, even when he knew there was no chance that he was going to be playing that year. Davis Warren also spoke more in detail about his background, the fight that he went through in high school. That game against Fresno State, he said, was his first start in a football game since 2019. We've covered his story over at the Michigan Insider, actually published a story on it on Saturday right before kickoff when he was officially named the starter. For those of you who don't know, and you'll see it on game day, I'm sure they'll have a segment on it this weekend, but Davis Warren in 2019 was diagnosed with leukemia. That, of course, sidelined him for that high school fall season when he was expecting to start. He then, like the rest of the world, had his life upended by COVID, and that meant that between leukemia and recovering from that, and between the pandemic that shut down football and so much of life around us in 2020, Davis Warren went from someone who could have been a prized recruit to someone who had to fight for a walk-on spot at the University of Michigan. He of course did that. He earned a scholarship a couple of years ago. He's impressed in spring games. In the 22 season, he actually earned a decent amount of time as a backup and performed pretty well. But that Saturday game against Fresno State in the opener was his first time starting a football game since 2019. Said he had some nerves beforehand, but he talked to JJ McCarthy, he talked to people around him. Michigan has a meditation chair in its locker room that helped him recenter himself, and said once the game got going, very much like Hoosiers, he realized that the football field, the dimensions are the exact same as they've always been. Hash marks are in the same place. It's 11 on 11 like it's always been, and the rules are the same. The only thing that was different was a new opponent. And it will be a very tough opponent this weekend with Texas coming to town. Of course, on the offensive side of the ball for the Longhorns, you got Quinn Ewers, you got Isaiah Bond, who Michigan faced when he played at Alabama last year. Will Johnson says he's actually faced a couple of the Texas receivers, both Bond in the Rose Bowl and previously as high schoolers and prep coming up to college. He said he was disappointed for the most part with how he played against Fresno State. Says he never likes giving up receptions. Had a couple times where he did, and once where he was beat on a double move. That pass ended up falling incomplete, but said he was appreciative of having that challenge, helps him prepare for what will be a very stiff test with the Longhorns, and said he's excited to face one of the most explosive offenses in the country, led by one of the best quarterbacks in the country, a returning starter in Quinn Ewers. We will have a lot more over at the Michigan Insider and on this YouTube page as the Wolverines are preparing for a top 10 showdown, one of the marquee games of the 2024 college football season. So stay tuned to that over at Michigan.247sports.com. For everyone there, I'm Alejandro Zuniga. We'll talk to you next time.